Good evening. This is News.PH, but it's not politics as usual. I'm Pio Ontiveros. Tonight we talk about the late Tonight we talk about the latest teen pregnancy music video of the Department of Health that is drawing flack or getting plenty of flack from netizens. And in the second half of the show, the Ebola quarantine of the 14 overseas Filipino workers who came home from West Africa, the epicenter of an ongoing Ebola outbreak. But first, let's watch this Gaga Girl, Bobo Boy music video of the DOH.
Dapat naman maghintay ka muna. Huwag magkasala, huwag magtapa. Dapat naman matapos ka muna. Dapat naman maghintay ka muna. Huwag mag-alala, di kami tanga. Salamat sa payo, gusto naman kayo. Buhay ko nga ito, bukas ko ingatan ko. May isip na ako, chillax lang kayo. Kung madapa ako, babangon matututo. Kung ako'y mahal mo, surrender mo ang bandila. Ibigay mo na, sagot kita, sagot kita. Kung ako'y mahal mo, di mo ko pipili. Hindi pa ako ready. Maghintay ka, maghintay ka. Are we cool? Salamat sa payo, gusto naman kayo. Buhay ko nga ito, bukas ko ingatan ko. May isip na ako, chillax lang kayo. Kung madaba ako, babangon matututo. Di naman ako gagagala. Di naman ako popopoy. Di naman ako gagagala. Di naman ako popopoy.
Ang ganda ng mga reaction, ano? Off-cam. Our guest tonight, Percy Sendanya, Commissioner of the National Youth Commission. Hi, Percy. Thank you for being here. Mayi Fabros, Youth Commissioner of the Philippine Commission on Women. Ceci Rivamonte, Associate Director for Health and Wellness of Health International Youth Council. And Dr. GP Perez, Executive Director, the Commission on Population. Because the DOH said their regrets, that they would not be sending a representative. I guess you'll have to speak for the government tonight.
Sure.
So good luck. So let's begin first with your initial reactions. The first thing that came to mind when you first saw the video? Let's begin with Mai.
I think it was very demeaning. It was so insulting. Parang just the fact that you used two words and tried to normalize it.
Which words?
Gaga and bobo.
Gaga and bobo.
And then to assume that it was all right to say and use that to refer to adolescents, I think was very insulting.
Okay.
And it was just very demeaning. It was very demeaning. And for anyone to be spoken to in that way, even if you sing in a sing-song voice.
Yan. Sing-song, parang pa-hip-hop.
Pa-hip-hop, parang...
It didn't connect.
Oo, and nakakabastos.
No shred of hope there at all? Not one?
You try to make sense of it. Yun nga eh. You try to make sense of it and then eventually nakakabobo din siya. You end up feeling na you try to draw out whatever shred of rational for it, try to unpack it, you break it down into pieces, but I think what's really striking is the fact that they call girls and boys gaga and bobo, and I think that says a lot.
Percy, your first reactions?
I was surprised, but not in a good way. I think it's very counterproductive when we talk about adolescent sexual and reproductive health.
Yeah. But wait, how did you first find out about it? Did somebody tell you, Percy, tingnan mo yung video na?
I saw it on Facebook. This is the post of a person who's not necessarily involved in the advocacy. This person just found it quite hilarious. That's why he reposted it. And then
hilarious meaning?
Meaning funny, but at the same time, the comment was it was stupid. That was how he said it. And I was very alarmed because we work very closely with the DOH on adolescent sexual reproductive health. And this video is a step backward in the efforts of what we're doing now. For example, it's very sex negative.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we'll go into detail in a little while. When did you first see the video?
I saw it 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
On Facebook.
And you have not changed your mind about it?
I watched
no redeeming factor whatsoever?
I watched it for 3 times. I even asked the office to transcribe the lyrics, and still, I'm not happy with it.
Okay. Did you ask other people, even you, Mai? Did you ask other people? Since, parang this might be is it just me, or, So you asked other people?
I had to conduct a small FGD just to ask if you're talking about a certain market, if you're talking to adolescents, what does it mean to them? Does it resonate? It's really striking.
Okay.
It's really striking.
Okay. Percy, ganun din sa'yo. You had to ask other people.
Yeah, I asked other young people, especially in our community, because DOH says that the target audience is DNE, and I was talking to DNE, and they don't like it.
When you say your community, where? Exactly
I'm from Barangay Cruz Naligas in UP Diliman.
Okay. All right. Ceci.
Yes po. With all due respect po dun sa gumawa ng video.
Talagang meron pong with all due respect.
Kasi nahiya ako sa DOH. Yes, so nahiya po ako sa DOH kasi parang...
Nahiya kayo or nahiya mo para sa kanila?
The more na lumalabas yung video, the more na dumadami yung comments na medyo negative. As in negative talaga. And then we thought na yung intention nila to parang remind the young people about the issue nga is genuine naman. But how they presented it and the whole concept of it is parang hindi tanggap din ng mismong mga beneficiaries or yung mismong stakeholders ng issue.
Message was lost.
Yes.
Good intentions.
Opo.
But we all know where good intentions lead. Dr. GP Perez?
Yeah, I think agencies like DOH and POPCOM are quite concerned about teen pregnancy, and that's really come up very much this year. And both agencies have been developing different concepts, several concepts actually, on how to communicate to teenagers. And I guess Gabo is just one of those concepts among many that government is trying out. And if unfortunately netizens, people like the ones in the studio, have found it offensive and such, then it's missed its point because the message should have been stronger than the way it was put. So in that case, then we have to look for other ways. Not that concept, at least. That has to be dropped.
Yeah. The health department made this video on its own, or commissioned, or got an ad agency to do it. Who made that video?
Well, it was developed through a project that's assisting the Department of Health.
What is this project?
It's the Change Project.
Change Project.
Yes.
What is that Change Project?
It's communicating for communicators, that kind of...
Communicating?
Yes, it's a communication project
Yes.
looking at sexual and reproductive health issues. They've developed some material already in the past for DOH that went on commercial, on TV
What ad
programs,
agency
on
did this, sir?
broadcast. There are projects, so they might have asked an agency or agency people to do those other ads. For this one, I'm not sure whether they asked a professional agency to do
So
it.
it was not a professional, quote-unquote, professional agency that did this?
I can't say for a fact that it...
Uh-huh.
I saw...
There's not one ad agency also, I
Yeah.
noticed, no, that they said, hey, kami yung gumawa.
No,
Walang
no.
may gustong
Nobody's
Okay.
taking accountability.
Yeah. Oo.
No. I'm sure DOH did not pay a cent for this video. It was developed through this project.
So it should make us feel better that no taxpayers' money was spent for
Well,
this.
just stating the
Consuelo
fact.
de Bopo. Consuelo de Bopo na lang yon. At least walang pera ng taong bayan ginamit.
No, no. Actually, it was posted on Facebook, on the DOH Facebook without authorization.
Which one has no authorization? The DOH Facebook page?
No,
official
the fact that it was put up,
On the official
DOH did not know. Because,
But it was a DOH Facebook page.
yeah.
So how
It's
could they
not
have
run
not
by, it's run by an outside contractor for
An
DOH.
outside contractor?
Yeah.
Well, that's quite dangerous.
Yeah, maybe they should do, better monitoring, more control of that.
So it was
Things
posted
will
there.
probably change, I guess.
So it was posted there. What was we were talking about it before the show began, no? What was the intention? To not show it on television, to not show it on
Yeah.
social media?
Yeah,
not on Facebook, not on Twitter, but it's all over, so...
No, it's that kind of video, I think, was developed for, we conduct community outreach work. We have road shows with DOH, no? The POPCOM, DOH, National Nutrition Commission, PhilHealth. We go out to communities. We have sessions with the youth, older people, etc. And for the different communities, that is one of the videos that they play as part of the
They show it to
session,
communities.
community level.
Oh my, how
It's
long
not
have they been
meant-
showing this to community?
Only in the last 2 weeks, I think.
In the
or
last
3
week, so-
or month.
So you're saying that we should feel better that it was not meant for television or for social media exposure, and it was just meant to be shown to communities. So
Well-
the damage has been done pa rin. Di po ba? Parang ganon?
I guess the way they developed the video, maybe they didn't get the proper feedback. When they went to the communities, I only attended one of the road shows. I didn't hear any negative comment from the community. But I think...
Filipinos are too polite.
Probably.
You show them something this in a community, in a town hall meeting, they're not going to say it.
Yeah, I think at that point, Secretary Garin asked that it be taken out of the roadshow. So the fact that it was put up on the Facebook was clearly without authorization. Or
When did she have it removed from the roadshow
I
lineup?
think it was in Antique when I saw it, in Region 6. That was about a month ago. About the end of October, early November.
So it was Acting Secretary Janet Garin who wanted to have that video made. So she had it made and
No,
then
it was
supposed to be
made
part.
to support the road shows. And then when she saw it, she said, take it out. She didn't want it on the road show.
Well, now it's out.
Yeah.
It's all out there for all of us to see. Okay, Percy, you wrote a letter to Acting Secretary
Yes.
Janet Garin. You sent the letter today. It was
Yes,
received
it was.
today. We're going to put it up on screen so that our viewers can see them. And I wanted you to read through it. It's not a very long letter, no? I just
Yes.
wanted to go through some points with you. Can we show it now? Do we have it already? Can you read it, Percy?
Not from this distance, but I can tell you more at least
Sige,
what
sige.
it says. Well, basically, the National Youth Commission is very concerned with video because the NYC and the DOH, we work together on adolescent sexual reproductive health. And I
Yes.
think the core message of the video is way beyond what is, the consensus among the agencies, including POPCOM. First, it's the tone about sex. It's very sex negative. There are words like pagkakasala. Madapa. No? And this words reinforce the existing sex negativity in society, and this is the problem. We're not talking about sex. That's why young people get information from somewhere else, and now you have a video from a government agency that reinforces that kind of message, that sex is madapa, that sex is a sin. So the NYC is urging the DOH that it will be removed permanently from official sites and that it will be archived. Not even used for road shows.
Yeah.
I don't believe that there is a separate material that's good for road shows but bad for online media, because your audience is the same.
It's the same.
It's
Exactly
the same.
the same,
Young
right.
people are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at least 2 hours a day. So what's good for them during road shows should also be good for them on social media.
Yeah. In the second paragraph, second sentence, you say that this reinforces stigma, discrimination, and, as you said, sex negative. Itong stigma, discrimination, can you be specific with what particular elements of the video of the MTV show that?
As it is right now, young mothers or teenage mothers or child mothers are experiencing difficulties, stigma and discrimination from their communities. And we want to reduce that because these young mothers are already having a difficult time in school and in their communities. And yet, you will hear music videos saying that those, in effect, who got pregnant while they were young are actually gaga. And those who got them pregnant are actually bobo. So that's a terrible message to get across using an official government platform, saying that, you know, those who got pregnant are gaga and those who got them pregnant are bobo. So that's stigma and discrimination at its highest ugly level.
Dr. GP, the gaga girl and the bobo boy, where did that come from?
From that project, and
From the communicators.
yeah.
And the communicators felt that they were communicating well by using those terms.
Yeah, you know, sometimes some people may think that, you know, it's a kind of shock treatment is necessary. Maybe you say something that will wake people up. They think that will work. So maybe that was the intention here. For example, I saw in one country, they put up mannequins of pregnant teens. That drew attention. You know, it was on a storefront. They see this pregnant teenager in a school uniform. That drew attention of media and other people because we wanted to draw attention to the fact that too many teenagers are getting pregnant.
So shock treatment, Ceci and Mai, how do you react to that as an explanation for that video?
Parang shock treatment, kung yun po yung ano nila, intention, medyo nung mga tinanong ko rin yung peers namin, parang hindi naman daw nag-leave ng impact yung video. So kung yun yung intention, medyo hindi na-reach din.
I think in terms of discussion, yeah, people are definitely discussing it. And actually, it comes down to, are we even calling young people the same words? If that was one of the intention, then perhaps they're getting what they're... But I think what the other aspect of that is that we're actually making it normal, because that's the scary thing about using shock as your primary mode na, for communication. And it can go the other way. It can actually normalize it. It makes it sound. If you put it a very catchy tune to it, then you have kids who have last song syndrome, remembering and calling you, gaga girl, you know. And it's really terrifying because as it is, we already have a gazillion words that we throw to young people. Pasaway, gaga, bobo. And now you're making it part of the lexicon. You're making it part of our culture. And you're saying that it's all right to use these words. If there was really indeed a long-term plan, then let's have this dialogue. And we'd like to have this dialogue. And there should be a dialogue. The department should be, you know, engaging not just those in the community, but all of us. Because at the end of the day, we all have children. We are with children. We are working with children. So we should be engaging this kind of discussion. And I think pulling it out, that was such a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
We were...
To be fair, has there been any other video for any other advocacy that used similar words, gaga, bobo, or similar? Meron ba? You know, think about it during the break. We'll have to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to News.PH. We're talking about that video Ang hirap banggitin yung title ng video, wag na lang.
Gabo.
Wag na. Okay, we had a question hanging, no? Is there any other video, any other ad or MTV that uses similar terms?
Not that I recall.
Not
But we have our own video in Popcom. We call it You for You. The message goes, ikaw na di na baby, not yet naman lady, kilalanin, alagaan, ingatan ang iyong sarili. Ikaw na di na boy, pero di pa naman mama, make sure sa gagawin para di mapasama. So
Do you have that right now on YouTube? Is it up?
it's on YouTube.
It's on
People
YouTube.
can see it. It's letter U, number 4, and then
letter
U.
You for you.
What's good about the Popcom video, the whole Popcom material, is that it affirms the capacity of young people to make right decisions. Unlike this other video, which basically assumes that, young people would make bad decisions. That's more recognizing of the evolving capacities of young people. The other video, it completely missed the point.
Okay. Percy, in your letter, you also asked that the video be taken down or discontinued.
Yes, and we hope that the DOH will stop using it, whether for online purposes or for the caravan, because it veers away from our victory with the RH law, wherein we want to foster an atmosphere wherein sex is something that we can talk about to empower people to make right decisions, because this one position sex, as I've said, is something that is very evil. The message now, other than abstinence, is safer sex. And if you watch the whole video, it basically says that sex is bad. So it's just abstinence. What happened to the other equally important message of safer sex?
Okay.
Sayang naman.
Dr. Perez, a while ago you said na pinatigil na yung video, no? The showing of the video in the caravans, in the
It's
different
also
communities, it stopped.
Yeah.
And now, what are you saying? As far as you know, because of course you're not speaking for the DOH, as far as you know, the DOH is trying to get the video back, or how are you going to do that on social media?
It's going to be removed from all, like Commissioner Percy said, I think it will be archived and set aside. So it won't be used anymore.
Yeah, but it's kalat yan eh. You cannot control social media.
Yeah, unfortunately, things live forever on the internet.
Yes.
But I hope people look at, alternatives also. There are many organizations sending the message. Well, if this is really a failure in a way at messaging the fact that we need to do something about teenage pregnancy, so let's set it aside and move on for me. That's probably the way to go.
I think that the good thing is that people are responding. So at the end of the day, the department can also see it as an opportunity that whatever material they come up with to promote, healthy, wise decision making about one's body, that they can rely on us. I think that we will respond and we have a stake in it. And I think that the consultative aspect of any material that you will use for communication to empower citizens, I think what you said about the intention is to empower, but it was disempowering. So I think utilizing social media at that, utilizing the participation, active participation of citizens, tayo, normal Filipinos who would want to say, give our two cents about how the department and all government agencies are communicating to young people and telling young people how to make better decisions. Kasali kami.
What are the statistics now on teen pregnancy?
Let me put it on a daily basis.
Yes.
Just for example, today,
Nakakatakot na.
at least 600.
Excuse me?
600
600.
Filipino teenagers 19 years old and below would have given birth just for today. That's about
19
20
and below. What is the youngest age?
Recently, we got a report from Aklan, an 11-year-old, a grade 5 student gave birth to a baby boy. So it's not just teen pregnancy now, we're talking about child pregnancy.
So ang tawag namin actually 10 pregnancy because the youngest mother is around 9 years old. So we're looking at them getting younger and younger. And like what Percy was saying, before the show actually would end, we'd have like
25 more.
Okay, so wait, 600 every day?
Every day.
A year ago, what was the number?
The data is from the year 2010. That's from the Philippine Statistics Authority.
Okay.
And this is further corroborated by both the findings of the National Demographic Health Study and even the YAFS. The YAFS said that it's about 10 to 14% of those who are 19 and below would have given birth or are pregnant during the time of the study.
That's as of 2010. Do we have any later figures?
Yeah, it's
that can-
23.
Yeah, I think there's a 2011 Family Health Survey that shows that it's about 7.4 who already have children and 2.1% who were currently pregnant during the survey. It's about 9.5, which is not too far
From the
14.
600.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
okay.
From 2000 to 2010, the number of teen pregnancies went up from about 140,000 to about 207,000
So around
now, which is
100%.
what?
Around
Yeah,
100%.
it's
Beginning
really
to
gone
ease,
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pia, it
Yeah.
came to a point that most of us would know someone who got pregnant in their teens. If you go to classrooms and you ask children or high school students, do you know of someone who got pregnant, whether a relative or a neighbor, most of them would raise their hands.
And
So it has come to a point that, you know, you already know of someone already.
And I think the scary part there is we're not talking about first pregnancies. You know, it's like
Some of them,
multiple. We're talking about even up to fifth pregnancies. You imagine you're a teenager and you
At
have 5
19, even at
kids
19.
at
oo.
19.
So it's not like, for example, yung 600 na today, no? Yung iba dyan,
Pwedeng
pangalawa,
pangatlo,
pang-apat,
pang-apat.
May
pang-lima,
pang-lima.
or pang-lima, or meron kung una ito, yung araw na ito,
pwedeng may susunod
Pwedeng
pa
may
siya.
susunod.
That was also the impetus why President Aquino really pushed for the for the RH law. If you remember his visit to Manila, when he saw a young mother in for her nth pregnancy, and I think that says a lot.
Okay, we'll take a short break first, then we'll come right back for a last gap. Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH. I'm Pia Ontiveros. We're talking about that video. Let's not use the name. Okay, this is the final round already. So, Mai, before we go, you wanted to bring up an important
And
point.
you know, we live in a highly sexualized community. You know, globally, even here in the Philippines, like sex is everywhere, and yet we want children or adolescents and young people, even us, not to think that sex is bad. And I think by creating these two opposing and contradictory ideas, you actually disempower not just adolescents, not just young people, but even us. So we become so uncomfortable to talk about sex. So in situations where wise decisions have to be made, we don't know how to respond.
The kids freeze. No?
We
Like
all,
you said,
even
all
we
freeze.
freeze.
No? Oo.
I think.
Okay.
So I think that's the really terrible thing that
Yeah.
can result from this video.
When you say sex is everywhere, like you go out billboards, everything, no? Everything,
TV,
media,
tabloid,
everything.
news,
Okay.
everything. Like
Okay.
it's everywhere. And we all know that advertising, sex sells. It sells not because sex is bad, but because sex is inherently human. It is normal in the sense that it is part of our health and well-being. So the moment we say that it is bad, immediately we are saying we are bad. What we feel is bad. What's happening to our bodies is bad. So what are you teaching?
Yeah. Oo.
And what's
Yeah.
more
Tapos
dangerous?
parang nagiging fight or flight. So flight
Oo.
na lang.
Correct,
It's
correct.
bad eh. Let's not talk about
Correct,
it. Let's
correct.
not deal with it. Yeah,
And
Percy.
the problem with the video is that the target are adolescents. These are the young people who for the first time are feeling very intense feelings towards members of the same sex or the opposite sex. Their bodies are changing. They're feeling desire. And while they're still trying to discover that, and eventually they need to discover that and be able to make responsible decisions through life skills development, the learning will stop because we are saying that it's bad. You should not talk about it. You should not think about it because if you think about it,
You're
you are
bad.
bobo or you are
You're gaga.
gaga. So
Okay.
that's a very powerful but very negative message that we're sending across. And also, the only way to reduce teen pregnancy and risky sexual behavior, including HIV and AIDS, is to empower young people to make responsible decisions. And they will not be able to make responsible decisions if the conversation would just be, it's bad.
Okay. Percy, in the letter to Acting Secretary Janet Garin, you said in the 4th paragraph, the NYC again humbly offers our assistance to the DOH in the development and crafting. What struck me here was the word again.
we've been partners with the DOH before in the development of the Adolescent Job Aid Manual. It was a partnership between DOH, PopCom,
well, did they
NYC.
ask you before they came out with this video?
This did not go through our informal group. We have an informal group, the agencies that are focusing on adolescent child productive health, and this was not presented to that group. So had it been presented to us, the NYC, for example, we would tell them that it's best to archive.
Well, why do you think it wasn't presented to you, to this informal
That
group?
I'm not sure. And I think if it went through a consultation, not even with other government agencies, but say with youth organizations who work on this area, I'm sure they would say the same thing. So this is a case of, participation is important in the crafting and development of materials, especially consultation.
And if you had seen the video early on?
Siyempre po, I would say na, let's do it again. Parang ganun. Kasi in line with Sir Percy, parang yung youth ngayon is nag-offer nga sila ng more involvement sa mga gantong plans. Sana kasama yung youth sa planning, implementation, and up to evaluation ng mga materials na ganyan. Kasi at the end of the day, sino titingin? Siyempre yung youth din. And sino yung mag-act on that issue? Siyempre yung youth din. And to close po, I mean, dun sa issue namin, dapat din, kasi minsan may feedback din kami nakuha na, ginagawa kasing excuse ng youth yung love, parang ganun. And let's remind the youth that love is not the excuse for that. They should not abuse that word na para, kasi mahal mo, kaya ginawa niya, parang ganun. Yun nga, that love is not just a feeling.
Love is a decision.
It's a principle, parang ganun.
Yes. Most of the time. Okay. But, para naman na constructive tayo, no? Meron ba kayong mabibigay na proposal for a video that would be shown?
Opo, we have to talk about it po with the NYC rin.
Okay, final words. Let's begin with Mai so that at least si Dr. Perez will have the last.
Yes,
the last
I think we should give him the floor for that one.
Okay.
No, I think ang libog ay normal. Kaya bata ka, may kamatanda. I mean, we all have sexual rights, we all have sexual health, and we all have yearnings, no? We all have desires and fantasies and pleasures that we want to experience, and it's not limited to adolescents. And it is a right that we all should enjoy. But to box adolescents simply by saying that you cannot experience this and saying this is bad, and to think of adolescents and young people as unable to make decisions over their lives is already not just stigmatizing or discriminating, it's violating their very right as humans. And I'd like to establish that because adolescents and young people are not lesser humans, they're not lesser beings. It's just that they are younger than us. But they should enjoy the same rights and respect. Now, respect in their being. And even I, as an adult, would not want to be called gaga and bobo. We all make terrible decisions. And to accord just because somebody makes a terrible decision, immediately you box them as bobo, gaga, or pasaway, or whatever words we use. I don't think anybody deserves to carry such that burden. Si Sharon Cuneta lang ang pwedeng pumasan ng daigdig, at hindi kami.
Percy?
The Philippines now is the gold medalist when it comes to teen pregnancy in the whole of the Southeast Asian region.
And HIV.
We have the highest rate of increase. And just the other day, the UNICEF took note of our HIV rate infection, and they told me that we might also be the gold medalist when it comes to HIV infection in the world in terms of rate of increase. We are in this situation because we tell young people that we should not talk about sex. And the video said just that. Let's not talk about it, let's not discuss it any further because it's bad. And for the longest time, that is the status quo. And because that's the status quo, we now have these twin gold medals, HIV and teen pregnancy. So this is a very strong message that we have to get across. It has to change. And one change would be, let's start talking about it and let's not dismiss it as something that is bad. We cannot keep young people in the dark forever and say, let's not talk about it. Because the only way that they can make responsible decisions is that if they have a heightened sense of awareness of the decision that they're going to make. That's the only way to lose those two gold medals.
All right. Ceci?
Dun po sa sinabi ni Sir, ay tanong niya rin po kanina na do we have programs for that? Yung sa IYC po, we have upcoming programs this next year, 2015, in which we have a forum for certain about health issues, ganyan. So maybe we can promote more on that, and with the help of IYC and other departments po, we can promote these programs para ma-address yung issues ng mga bata.
Okay, and Dr. Perez, you have the most number of minutes.
Sure. Let me say that DOH has learned the hard lesson with this video, and I think DOH has to review the way it approves material. But I think the key to whatever DOH or any agency does when it involves young persons, young people, is to make them involved, get them involved.
Yes.
Not only in testing,
In developing.
or post-testing after it's been developed, but rather, even as you develop the material, get the people involved. We in PopCom, we get young people involved in our work. It's young people talking to young people. It's not adults talking to young people. We have sessions that are interactive where the facilitators are their classmates. So we go to schools, we get let's say the best among them to be the facilitators. We have a one-day training, and then we have this interactive session with them, and we put that online. They can ask questions through an interactive voice response system on the net. They can do it privately. So, because this is what we heard from them. They don't want, the intrusion of adults, except when they really need a health professional. And they want that done in a private way. So it's listening to young people that agencies, any agency in government should do. And I've always said this, that many agencies in government don't listen to young people enough. And that's because young people are probably not speaking up enough. They're not making their needs felt. And we must reach out and find out what they need. And the YAFs, all the data this year is showing that young people, while they're doing less of the risky non-sexual behavior, they've gone into sexual behavior in a big way. And we need to talk to them about it and use the best means. If this is a failure, let's go to other means.
But you do agree that there should be dialogue, we should be openly talking about sex and everything.
Oh, sure, yeah. We're working with DepEd to get them up to speed on the comprehensive sexuality education aspect of the bill, of the RH bill. And we're working with NYC, and we're getting moving. And I think before the end of the year, we'll get all the policies out.
All right. Thank you very much for being here. Mai Fabres, Percy Sendanya, Ceci, and Dr. G.B. Perez. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat. We'll take a short break. Please stay with us. News.PH will be right back. Welcome back to News.PH. Overseas Filipino workers who have just returned from Sierra Leone were sent to Nayong Pilipino, the headquarters of the Bureau of Quarantine there, and are now subject to a 21-day Ebola quarantine. We have with us on the phone Dr. Tony Leachon. He's an internist and cardiologist at the Manila Doctors Hospital. And a little later on in the show, we will be joined by Robert. That's an alias, name alias for one of the OFWs who is at the Bureau of Quarantine. But we'll talk first to Dr. Leachon. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Pia, and thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. We appreciate your coming to the phone. Can you tell us exactly what is the protocol of the World Health Organization when it comes to nationals, in this case, Filipino nationals who are returning from other countries or countries that have Ebola?
Well, the protocol of the World Health Organization, together with, I think, adopted also by the Philippine Society of Microbiology and Infectious Diseases, is only exit screening at the point of, at West Africa, and then quarantine for 21 days. And then, upon arrival in the Philippines, the guidelines would be just observation for 21 days at home. And if you develop symptoms, then you will call the hotline of the Department of Health. and be brought to the designated area. So the guidelines of the WHO have not been adopted globally or universally. There are 30 countries all over the world that adopted actually a total travel ban, and 2 countries, Canada and Australia, actually ban residents also coming from West Africa to their native country. So in and out, that they're banning it. In the U.S. right now, there's no quarantine, but they suffered, of course, a major death in Thomas Eric Duncan.
Yes.
I think the position of the Philippines is basically to take a quarantine because we have 3,000 OFWs there, and we want to repatriate them in the event that the Ebola outbreak will escalate in that particular area.
Okay.
Now, the rationale behind the quarantine, I presented this in the Senate, and together with Secretary Ona and Julie Hall of WHO. So the 3 of us presented to Senator Chufisto Gingona. The preparation at that time was only at the ground level because the study of the Lancet, October 21, said that exit screening and then quarantine at the point of exit will be good. But in that particular study, it is said that 98% of cases of Ebola will have an incubation period of 21 days. And there's an outlier, 2% of cases will have an incubation period of 21 to 42 days. Now, in that particular study also, it is said that it would be risky for countries with weak or fragile healthcare system to address this at the country level. Meaning to say, of course, in Asia, we have 10 million migrant workers. We have 10 million migrant workers, and it will be very difficult for us to contain that because Ebola, according to that study, has a long incubation period where people are not ill and do not display symptoms, average 8 to 10 days up to 21 days. And most infected travelers will not be symptomatic and possibly not even know they are infected. So if they are not showing symptoms, then they will not be detectable with thermal imaging or scanning or other interventions either at exit or at entry.
Dr. Liachon, I just wanted to clarify. So we have that WHO protocol as you described in great detail, and that is very, very clear to us. But you're also saying that it is incumbent or it is okay lang, no? It is all right for individual countries to make decisions as to how they will carry out this protocol or what protocol they will implement.
Yes.
Similar to what we did.
Yeah, because I think the president would like to have a preventive approach rather than a curative approach. Because the risk of infection, just one case will have a 40% chance of a major outbreak.
So do you agree that that was the right thing to do?
I think that was the right thing to do because of the limited preparation. The Ebola breakout happened in December 2013. And the preparations was, I think, were started only last August.
Okay. So hindi po ito, this is not overkill, what we are doing. Having the, because what happened was you had the peacekeepers in Caballo Island, and then you had that, well, that situation where you had the chief of staff and the acting health secretary visiting them. You know, so there's that whole slew of reactions, no? Why are they in quarantine? And pwede pala silang bisitahin. And then you have other officers were brought in from Liberia and not brought to Caballo Island, but brought to a military government hospital. And then you have these workers from Sierra Leone who were put in the Bureau of Quarantine headquarters in Nayong Pilipino, where no very clear protocol is being followed anyway.
Okay. Ma'am, we have to understand that the president took a stand of a quarantine, and therefore, it is a mandate po. Now, we have to follow the quarantine. So if the president will decide later on to leave the quarantine, and therefore, all of this protocol, pwede nang bawiin natin. But ang pinanggagalingan, even first world countries po, like Canada and Australia, total ban nga different from us They don't care whether residents ka. nauwi ka for the last 3 months at na nanggaling ka doon, hindi ka tatanggapin dito.
Okay.
So sa atin ho, we have 10 million migrant workers, 3,000 na nandun.
Oh,
And then we have porous borders, we have many airports. Our airport is considered hindi naman worst airport right now, but it's not considered as a first class just in case parang katulad sa US.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's incumbent upon the president to have that executory function. Ours lang naman is during the presentation at the Senate, tatlo ho yung pinresent, the presentation of Secretary Ona, which is actually preparation at the ground level, and the World Health Guidelines. It just so happened perhaps that during that discussion, na-consider nila to because I think the preparation is limited at the moment po.
Okay. All right. Maraming salamat po, Dr. Anthony Leachon. I'm sorry we have to let you go now. We need to speak to Robert, who is already on the phone. Salamat po, Dr. Leachon.
Salamat po. Salamat po.
Let's talk to Robert. Robert, magandang gabi. Robert?
Hello.
Yes, hi. Good evening, Robert. This is Pia Ontiveros. You're live right now. Robert, kailan ka dumating?
Noong December 1 po.
I'm sorry?
December 1.
December 1. Okay. Ano yung naging experience ninyo sa airport? Ano nangyari?
Ay, sa pagdating ako sa airport, mas mali na surprise kami. Hello?
Robert, yes. Ano yun? Na-surprise kayo?
Na-surprise kami kasi ang pagkakalam namin, wala kami quarantine kasi nung November 27, sabi sa mga hindi direct yung mga hindi prescribe pero hindi mga medical team, walang quarantine. Kung sino lang yung may symptom. Yun ang update namin kaya kami nagbakasyon.
Alam niyo ba nung, Robert, nung paalis kayo dun sa Sierra Leone, yung pagbalik niyo rito, alam niyo ba na ika-quarantine kayo? Robert? Do we still have him on the line? No, we don't. We no longer have Robert on the line. Na-quarantine ata yung telepono natin, ang cellphone. Are we still going to get him back? Hindi na. All right. I'm sorry. We apologize for that. Audio difficulties. That was Robert, one of the OFWs who is at present quarantined in the Bureau of Quarantine headquarters in the Old Nine Filipino area in down south. Thank you very much anyway to Robert for coming to the phone, and thank you also to Dr. Anthony Leachon. Thank you for watching. See you again next Wednesday. Good night.